Hey, what's going on, everybody? Brian Tan with you again, and this is the Tanndemonium Sports Show here on Vendetta Media. And with me, as always, for episode 3. I think once we get to like episode 4 or 5, I'll stop saying, episode numbers probably. But with me, as always, is Jackson Law. Jackson, what's going on, man?
Oh, man, it's going. It's another day. Let's do this thing. I got something I got to get off my chest here
All
to
right, go
start
ahead.
out.
All right, hey, man. The floor is yours. What you got?
All right. So they've so it has been talked about on the site in the past, and there's been an apology issued for it. So I mean I'm still angry about it, and I am trying to keep I'm going to keep the swearing at a minimum for practice. For on YouTube they demonetize your video instantly if there's swearing in the first 30 seconds. So I'm a be as chill as possible here.
All right.
But NBA 2K21
Oh, I had a
is
feeling you were going to go
started.
there.
They put ads in their game. This is a $60 game.
70 if you're going next gen.
70 next gen. Yeah, and after the
Matter of fact,
backlash from this,
from last year, because they did it last year.
they did it last year too, and people got really pissed off, and they had to back off.
Right.
But
And now
so
they're doing it
to
again.
so yeah, to finish that thought, it's unskippable ads, and like this unskippable ad that they put in there that everyone was showing was like for the new Oculus Rift, like the next version where it's like all completely wireless, and it looks really cool. I really want it. Maybe one of these days I can buy an Oculus Rift. Yeah, I want one. And my Alexa's probably me hearing me in the other room, and now I'm going to start seeing ads for the Oculus Rift everywhere. But they put it at the beginning of the 2K show or whatever it's called, that shows before, as the game is loading in, it shows that, or you can just ignore the episode and go to editing your roster if there's roster changes that you want to make, or you want to see who's on the other roster and all that jazz.
Right.
So obviously everyone got pissed off about it, rightfully so. And so they finally released a statement today, and I've got it up right here, and it says, as many are aware, in recent years, ads have been integrated into 2K TV segments. Yesterday's 2K TV ad placement impacted our players' experience in a way we didn't intend. As these ads are not meant to run as part of the pre-game introduction, this will be fixed in future episodes. Thanks for your continued feedback. Bullshit. The 30 seconds is over, so I'm going bullshit here. 2K, okay?
Call it. Call them.
This
Call
is
them on it. Get them. Get them,
you.
JLaw.
You charge first off, you charge $60 for this game. On top of that, you continually ignore the community for changes that need to be made to the game. There is a broken ass game that no one really enjoys playing. The only people that seem to be having fun playing the game are the two single most monetized group of people on the planet, and that's the people that play the park, because they have to drop an extra $60, $70, $80 to get their character to an 85 overall on the first day of the game, and then grind to get more VC, or just pay more VC to continue leveling up their player. So that's you're doubling, tripling the price of your game for giving them an easy out like that. And then you've got the real life, or it's a virtual casino, where in 2K20 they had literal Plinko, whatever the hell it's called, where you like drop, it's like Plachenko or whatever it's called, where it's like you drop the pin down. They literally had that machine in the game. They had literal slot machines in the game. You're basically gambling, and you're having little kids gamble when you're trying to buy pay-to-win packs that give you small, minute chances of getting like a 92 overall LeBron James, when in 2 weeks they're going to come out with a 95 overall LeBron James, and then a month from then they're going to come out with like a 99 overall LeBron James. So that 95 and 92 LeBron James that you spent 30, $40 trying to get, it's useless
obsolete.
now. It's completely obsolete.
See, and that's why I don't play those. That's why I only play the park when I have nothing better to do. But most of the time when I get 2K, I'm either playing my career, or I'm playing my team, and I'm doing, you know what I mean? I'm doing not the online one, but I'm doing like I built an expansion, and basically I'm doing a franchise. I mean, you know what I mean? That's all I do. I don't do the, the Madden Ultimate teams or the 2K, whatever the hell teams they are. I don't play those. I stay away from those. Matter of fact, this is what I don't understand about gamers, okay? You guys everyone hates the stuff that they do for these microtransactions. But every single year people come back and they play these things. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know. Are you familiar with the channel The Angry Joe Show?
No.
Okay. So he does he's got like a couple million viewers or subs. I watch some of his content on the side, and he does like a news roundup show, and it's specifically all about like video games and the entertainment sphere. Okay. And on his recent video, and I went back to the thread that he talked about, there were people talking about how there's and this is for Madden, because he's more of like a Madden football guy. I don't think he messes with 2K. He plays more Madden. Okay. And he was going through a list of people that on a thread for Madden were talking about how they were getting banned from the game because and like with all these games, there's like a secret, like under the table third party, like someone's spending, a couple $1,000, like a couple $100 to get like, stuff, and then they sell it to people for more of a profit. There were people on there that were getting banned, and they're like, EA, I didn't do anything wrong, and it's like, and here's my receipts. This guy in 1 month had spent over, or just a few months, had spent over $1,000 in packs for the Ultimate Team for Madden, and claimed that in last year's Madden he spent around $5,000 or $6,000. It's those.
Where is he getting, like, so what? He monetizes all of his videos, and all of that money goes into all those microtransactions in these games.
Yeah, not Angry Joe. Not Angry Joe. There's
some other dude.
It's just a random person. But there are other YouTubers who make a living, opening packs, and like literally, it's just the circle continues because they will spend. I have watched pack opening videos. I've seen people drop in $200, $300, $400, $500 in a single video, and never get the thing they want.
Bro, that's a car payment. That's a car payment and a couple of bills for me. Yeah. Seriously? Oh my God. Maybe I'm just finally out of touch.
I'm all for doing what you want with your money and having fun with it, but there are more constructive things that I could think of to do with $1,000.
Yeah, that for me, let's see. That's at least 3 months of car payments right there.
Yeah,
come on, man.
It is just nuts, and I am getting
out of control. I'm seriously, I'm so fed up with gaming at this point. I really am.
Me too, and it's like I had a article that did fairly well back in the summer where I was basically calling for a boycott of Madden, and it didn't matter because it was one of the better performing Maddens in recent years. So it's just like, well, what's the point of even trying to fight this? What's the point of even
there is no
trying to argue it because exactly. But the only silver lining is that it is possible, because when Star Wars Battlefront 2 dropped a few years ago, they had a similar pay to win mechanic, because there's the cards that you can get, and they're upgradable cards and upgrades. Your soldier, and they can do certain things, and the higher level your card is, you used to not be able to get those. Now it is, if you play, the more you play, the more like credits you earn, and you can purchase upgrades with those credits. That didn't used to be the case. You could there was a slow grind to get credits, and then you bought these packs, and you could possibly get something good in them, or you could get duplicates. And it's like, or you could spend real world money for their virtual currency, their premium currency, and buy those packs that way. And the Battlefront 2 community was so upset with it that they stopped everything that they were doing and took it out like 2 weeks later. and we're like desperately trying to fix everything.
All right, so what do they do now? So what, do you just play the game and you can unlock stuff?
Yeah, that's literally what
That's the
I've
way
done.
it's supposed to be.
Exactly. And it was like it wasn't even that bad. It was like they started dropping a bunch of skins for. I'm a huge nerd, so I'm about to get real nerdy here. But they started dropping like a bunch of skins for like clone troopers. Like they were dropping like the 501st Legion, which is
Nice.
if you know anything, if
Come on,
Star
do
Wars
I know
fans.
Star Wars? I know Star Wars.
Yeah. But the
But
other
I
people
know
out there,
yeah,
if they don't know Star Wars that much, it's they're really
501 Legion is a big deal. They're the ones that were when they got the execute order 66. Those were the cats that was firing.
So I hopped back in the game when they started adding, because they added like 6 or 7 more like clone trooper legions, and then they added stuff for like all the other factions in the game. So I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. I'll hop back in there. I'll see what's going on here. They added a bunch of new maps, bunch of new game modes for free, and then it took me maybe about 3 hours of playing the game, and I had the 501st Legion skin.
Nice.
And it's like I wasn't even playing that great. I just played the game. And I was just having a good time because it's like, this is so cool because it's Star Wars and I love Star Wars. I'm having a blast. And it's like, oh, at the end of this 3 hours, when I'm kind of tired and I'm like, man, I need a break, I finally see that I am rewarded for my 3 hours of play with the skin that I wanted. And I'm like, I'm going to be coming back because I want more skins now.
Oh, maybe I should play it because I didn't play Battlefront 2 because I heard about all the stuff they were doing. I said, yeah, I'm done.
It is fixed and it is much better. I go about maybe every 2 or 3 months. I'll go with a month where I play it nonstop, and then I dip back out of it because I mean it gets kind of repetitive. But then I get that urge. I get back in it, and I'm like, damn, this is good. So
well, see,
it is possible to fix it, but I think the sporting game community exactly.
They don't want to. They don't have to. They don't have to because the thing is that they know that you're going to keep coming back. Yeah, you're going to be all pissed off. You're going to be running mouth online and blah, blah, blah. But guess what? You'll be back. And you are. And honestly, what's crazy is that when it comes to the talk about Madden, I'm always saying, and I even blast Madden. You saw me blast Madden on Twitter last week. And it's like, and I've even told like Madden people, I've tagged them in my complaints, and I'm like, look, man, 2K football games are way better than the crap you put out. But it seemed like 2K is just putting out garbage anyway. I had an issue with 2K with 2K20. I was supposed to get a locker code, and the code they sent me didn't work. So I get on the message board with them, and I'm like, well, we can't help if you gave your code to someone else. I'm like, dude, you guys just emailed me this code and it doesn't work. Well, there's nothing we can do about it. I can't issue you a new code. And I'm like, so basically I did all the stuff, and I don't even remember what it was. It wasn't even really that important. It was just, this was an offer you made for me. I go to take advantage of said offer. What you give me does not work. And now you're telling me that it's my fault it doesn't work when you gave me something shoddy. And I was just like, you know what, man? I'm done with some of these companies. Like, I'm not buying 2K. Like, maybe I'll get it when 2K21 is, used and cheap. I'll probably buy it.
Yeah, I'm not messing with 2K anymore because it's not even going to be worth it to buy it on current gen. All their focus has moved next gen, and I'm still personally probably like 2 years away from getting a next gen console, unless I hit the lottery or something like that.
Right.
So
yeah, I'm probably not going to be buying I'm probably not going to be buying a new one. Like you said, unless I come into some serious money. But I also like to wait a little bit because to make sure they got all the bugs out, because there's always something.
Yeah.
There's always something.
Yeah. And
so I'm gonna wait.
Yeah, just to round it up before we move on, that's why I'm more than happy to throw my money behind someone like the developers of Maximum Football 20. I've been doing a series, which have you caught the latest episode?
I didn't get a chance to catch this one yet.
Okay.
I'll be catching up.
Okay.
Today is usually my day to watch the episode.
Yeah, no. You good. I just don't want to spoil anything for you.
Okay,
I just didn't want to spoil anything for you.
Did I do well this time around? Did I do well? Did I have a good game at least?
I'll say that. Yes, you have a good game. You have
Yes.
a good game.
Finally.
I'm not gonna spoil it, but you got a good game.
I may not be Chase Claypool, but I'll take it. Mapletron.
But I see a lot of people like shit talking Maximum Football.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a perfect game. It is far from it. There's only 5 people developing it. So if you came looking at this game expecting it to be what you hope Madden is to be, then you're setting yourself up for disappointment.
Place.
Exactly. You are coming to the wrong place. There are a lot of flaws with this game. They also there's really no outside funding outside of, they have a Patreon, I'm pretty sure. And then whatever comes in from their sales.
Patreon, that's what
yeah.
And so they're literally going from Patreon and then some of those investors, the investor money is coming in, but it's not a lot to start.
Yeah, and which I found this out the last time I played. I don't know if it was new, but Wilson is in the game, like, the sporting equipment Wilson, and so good for them. It looks like they're bringing some real world aspects into the game, and just like looking at the comments on some of the videos, it's like helmets too small, pads too small, player models look weird and out of shape. Some dude had a positive comment where it's like, this game gives me Madden 99 vibes, I really like it. And then some dude's like, this shit isn't close to Madden and not even playable. But just some of the negative things that I've seen.
How is it not playable? That's what how can you sit there and say the game is not playable? All right, the presentation is lacking.
Yeah, no.
But it's still fun. Like, I've played 2 games into my season so far. And I mean, I'm enjoying, like, when I can finally just get into it, it's challenging. It's challenging, but it's not so challenging that I can't play. It's fun.
No, I've been having a blast with it, but it's because of I came into it knowing what I was getting, knowing that I wasn't getting like simulation football, which when you play Madden, it's not simulation football. Instead of listening to the community, they just add another mode that is more monetized than the other modes.
Pretty much.
But I just wanted to say that I'm going to keep supporting these guys. We've got a good relationship. Vendetta's got a good relationship with them. And I can't wait. I hope they continue to grow. I hope they double the size of their company. They're 5 people right now. I hope if they do Maximum Football 21, I hope they got 10 people. Then I hope they get 20 people. Then I hope they get 50 people. And then if they've got 50 people, then we may have a AAA football title, which they got the Canadian license, I'm pretty sure. So more than likely in their next iteration, they will be an officially licensed Canadian football game.
And honestly, that's what we need. We need a studio like Canuck that they interact with they interact with their community, and that they're really doing their best to bring a good product. I mean, like last year, I played it for a bit, and the presentation was a little bit difficult for me. This year, I mean, it's basically the same, but at least now you've got bowl games, named bowl games, which is awesome. And actually, a lot of the controls are, like, I'm able to understand them. Like, the only thing that bothers me is that there's nowhere in the game that it gives me, like, a control mapping. And when I'm trying to look it up online, I can't find it. So it's like trial and error. That's a little bit annoying, but you know what? I can trial and error. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, and I finally figured out last game that I recorded that'll go up hopefully soon. How to look at my play when I pick my play and I get out to the field. You hold back on the left stick.
Oh,
like
that's
that.
how you, okay.
So you pull back on it and it shows it, because I just did it by accident and it showed up and I was like, nice. Oh my God, sweet. Nice. I knew it was there because I'd seen someone do it before. Someone that knew that they were doing.
How do you hurdle?
B is hurdle.
Hurdles. And then what spin? And then was it right bumper or right trigger that spin moves?
right bumper, spin to the right, left bumper, spin to the left, and then like right trigger is like a little like shimmy move to the right, left trigger is like a little shimmy to the left. There is a button mapping. If you go to in the settings, you can customize the button mapping.
All right, I gotta find that then.
Yeah, I've kept it the same because I've already figured it out. So I'm just whatever. I'm used to it.
All right, so maybe I'll play some of it. I'll play some more of it tonight because I think I'm on my third game. So I'm all for it. I'm all about it. So we're coming to the end of this segment. I'm noticing though that we do talk a lot of like gaming stuff as well. So I guess that's gonna end up being like a regular incorporated thing, I think. And matter of fact, if you guys are into MMA, if you like MMA like I do, we definitely have a show here on Data Media on check out our YouTube page. And we've actually got a career episode show going on there right now. I think episode 1 is up there now. I haven't had a chance to check it out yet, but check it out. This UFC 4, you're not really an MMA guy, so you haven't played it yet, I'm assuming.
I hadn't played it. No, I'll probably wait till it comes to EA Play or whatever it's called because I've got
Access,
it. Yeah, EA Access. That's it. Yeah.
And you know what? I played the trial of it. It's pretty on point. I like it. I like it a lot.
No, I've seen a lot of people say from 3 to 4, this is definitely some good changes.
It's definitely some good changes. Like, holy crap, EA did something good. But Dana White isn't going to let any sort of crap come around his product at all. He's kind of like the guys from South Park, where they push Stick of Truth by like 2 years to make sure it was like the best product possible. And Dana White's not going to let a bunch of crap come out. So check it out. Make sure you go to Vendetta Media on YouTube and check things out. Well, obviously you're there now if you're watching us. So, all right. So we had a pretty interesting weekend of sports. It was definitely a great weekend for me. It was great, but it was also terrible. Pittsburgh Steelers, Cleveland Browns, probably one of it's not as much of a rivalry as some other rivalries because the Browns are about a dumpster fire every year.
Yeah, for what is it? I think Joel Embiid said in the playoffs it's not a rivalry because they kick our ass every time. That's how the Browns are.
Yeah,
with the Steelers.
Exactly. But the Browns talk more trash than like anybody. Like they swear they're so great. And it's like, no, you're still the same junk you've always been. And you will always be. But 38-7 shellacking on Sunday. Now, what's funny is that everyone's saying how I remember hearing folks say, the Browns have been, coming out strong in the first quarter, and that's what the Steelers are going to have to do. And if they don't do it, there's going to be problems. Pick 6, Minkah Fitzpatrick. Pick 6, first quarter. And that was it.
I miss that man so much.
Yeah.
I'm a Dolphins fan, and yeah.
What I truly love, people are trash talking Minkah. Oh, he hasn't done anything this season. Because nobody wants to throw to him. The man is a walking, talking highlight reel. He is Troy Polamalu 2.0. Not saying that Minkah is a better player than Troy, but
he's that guy in the defensive back with a defensive back that you can really rely on.
Exactly. He can cover people.
And he's done this since college, but also does something that Troy did where it was like he's almost like kind of a hybrid safety where it's like you can play him back in coverage, but it's like you could bring him up in a lot of blitz packages, and he could be really scary when he is blitzing the quarterback or in the run stopping game. And that's what Troy Polamalu was. He was just an animal and all over
everywhere. I'm waiting for Minkah Fitzpatrick to suddenly have very, very, very long hair coming out of his helmet. And honestly,
I'm in Head and Shoulders commercials.
Exactly. I'm calling it now, man, because he's still on his rookie contract too. So we got him for like another 2.5 years,
something like that. Yeah,
he's going to be he's going to be getting a huge contract. Him and TJ Watt's getting that extension this year. Minkah's going to be getting that big extension next year, and Devin Bush will probably get. We'll talk about Devin Bush in a bit. Devin Bush is going to be getting it a couple of 3 years after that. This Steelers defense is going to be frightening in this 2020 decade.
Yeah, you and Scott should be happy right now. Scott Logish, another writer on the site, huge Steelers fan.
Oh, I am.
A high school history teacher, huge Steelers fan. He's happy.
To quote Fry from Futurama, I'm walking on sunshine. Whoa! I am pumped about it. And now, granted, and you want to talk about a shellacking. First of all, Mapletron or Clay Deadpool. I want to call him Cledpool. I'd rather call him Cledpool because he kills defenses. Matter of fact, they could just call him Deadpool. I don't care.
So we got Swamp Thing and Deadpool. What are some other? We need to come up with some other superhero names for other athletes now.
Yeah, we do. I think Minka. I would actually call Minka the Martian Manhunter. I can see Minka whooping. I can see Minka laying a boom on someone and then going off to the sideline eating some Oreos. I can see it. I can see it. But I mean, and like T.J. Watt, man, you want to talk about a beast? There he is. He's the beast. I mean, seriously, man. This Steelers defense is a monster this year. It's like they're bringing it all together. Now, what sucks with Devin Bush going down ACL out for the year, it's terrible. You know, it's you want to talk about rotten luck because, man, he got it figured out. He got it coming together, and then he goes down. But what I really enjoy, next man up, and the Steelers defense, I don't want to say they didn't miss a beat because they missed him, but this defense was so coherent together that they got the job done.
And I feel like that's just something that's in the Steelers' DNA. Like even in bad years, even in off years. And that's just what happens when you have a well-run franchise. It's the reason why, like the Miami Heat, why they never really tanked. Take it to basketball. It's a well-run franchise. They don't put up with BS, and neither do the Steelers. And if the instant that you're causing trouble or you're too much for them to handle, Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, you're gone. And Bell was a great talent, but they had James Conner, and even though James Conner has been relatively hurt over the past couple of years, when he's healthy, he has a game like he had here: 20 carries, 101 yards, and a touchdown, averaged 5 yards a carry.
And that's the kind of guy you want in your backfield. The Steelers offense, since I was a zygote and before, has been built on power running. It just happens. And James Conner is like the perfect complement to that. Honestly, I think James Conner fits with the Steelers mold better than Le'Veon Bell did because he's a hardworking guy. Not saying that Le'Veon Bell didn't work hard, but Le'Veon Bell is a knucklehead. Le'Veon Bell is a complete knucklehead, and that doesn't work on the Steelers. It just doesn't. You want to look at the laundry list of Steelers players that were knuckleheads that might have been talented players, but they wouldn't put up with: Eric Green, Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown, Rashard Mendenhall. I mean, the list goes on. And and now it seems like James Conner's figured out how to get the injury bug off his back, and now this guy's a beast. And then you throw, what's his name, Anthony McFarland. Every time he touched the ball, Tunch Ilkin, I think it was Tunch. It was either Tunch Ilkin or Craig Wolfley, two former Pittsburgh Steelers offensive linemen from the 70s, 80s. Every time he touched the ball, they're getting excited because eventually he's going to take one. As soon as he figures out his ball carrier, he's going to explode. And that's just going to be another weapon we've got. Big Ben is playing like he's 10, like he's found the fountain of youth. He's 10 years younger. We got Deadpool out there. He's taken the number one receiver job from Juju. Like it was nothing.
Juju's numbers. I talked about it with Trey on the fantasy show. The numbers for Juju are just declining rapidly. 2 receptions, 6 yards.
Yeah. All Juju is at this point, he's all he is essentially he's being a he's almost like a feint. So people are watching him. Yeah, he's a decoy. So when you're looking at him, Deadpool's killing you. Or did you see that James Washington touchdown, that Madden-esque touchdown catch?
Yeah.
Like seriously, how is your defensive backfield that trash? Now let me ask you this, Jack. Was it the Steelers are that good, or was it the Browns are that bad?
Both. Because I think I've bought into the Steelers this year. I've really liked what I've seen, especially from Big Ben. And Ben doesn't have to play perfect, and he didn't play perfect. Like, he only had 162 yards, but he still completes his passes at a decent rating. And at the end of the day, he outplayed the other quarterback, Baker Mayfield, and that's what matters. His team is 5-0, and we have seen better quarterbacks than Ben that are worse in this part of their career win Super Bowls, which is what happened with Peyton Manning his final year. All he was
noodle arm. He was a noodle arm.
He could do anything his last year. He was just there.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, he had the mind of Peyton Manning, and that's how their offense succeeded, was because they had Peyton Manning's mind. But the reason why they won that Super Bowl and had that 100% because of their defense. And
right.
The Steelers could be it could be one of those situations where they can make a deep run in the playoffs, make it to the AFC Championship game, face off probably against the Chiefs, who are my pick to get back to the Super Bowl. I don't know if I still haven't picked a winner for the Super Bowl. I need to do that just so that way, I have something that I can brag about, or try to weasel out, in the future, depending on how that goes.
That's gonna be a fun show.
The big thing that I can't wait for, and let me see when it is their first game against the Ravens. That is going to be
that's the make or break for the Steelers right there.
Mm-hmm, and that is how I'm going to gauge, even if they lose, how I'm going to gauge the legitimacy of this team is how well they perform. If they lose, but they get close and get a wild card spot, if somehow they run into the Ravens again, I would put my money on the Steelers, because the Steelers ain't losing to anybody 3 times.
No.
Mike Tomlin is not going to lose to someone 3 times.
And Mike Tomlin is a much better coach than anyone gives him credit for. I think that the problem with Tomlin, I think a lot of it is he's such a player's coach that I don't think his players are ready to run through the brick wall for him. They listen to him and they respect him because he's a player's coach, but he doesn't have that sort of aura that's going to make people ready to run through a wall for him. Like, Belichick runs things so tight-shipped that you're a machine. And he's not so much. I think Tomlin is a balanced coach. He's not that coach that's going to make you want to fight and die for him like a Mike Ditka was. But he's also not a super regimented guy like Belichick is. But he knows how to do the job. He wouldn't still be here in Pittsburgh if he couldn't get the job done.
No, even with so many years in between Super Bowl wins.
Right.
Like, even there have been coaches that have had success but never have made it to a Super Bowl. They continuously make the playoffs, or maybe they have a few down years and they get back into the playoffs, that they get fired, or it's not necessarily like a harsh firing. It's just like, we need to rebrand ourselves because we've been doing this for 10 years and we're still in the same spot. But no, right. He brings stability, which is why the Steelers have been as competitive as they've been throughout these years. Even in years where they didn't make the playoffs, they were still competitive in those years. Kind of like I said, they're like the Spurs. They're like the Heat. They're a staple organization, and they've had a coach for a long time, even through the down years, and that extends your rebuild. When you have those down years, the rebound is going to be much better. Right. Because you have that stability.
And I think we've got it right now. And I think we've got that right now with the drafting that they've done the last 2 years. And even here in Pittsburgh, when you hear some of the Yinzers calling the local sports talk, and they do, Kyre can't do that. I mean, not Kyre. Tomlin can't draft and blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, well, Chase Claypool would disagree with you. Mm-hmm. James Conner would disagree with you. And I mean, Eric Ebron, yeah, he's not getting used as much, but he's starting to slowly come around. I mean, this Steelers team is intense, and they hit hard. Mm-hmm. They actually tied. I think they're the first team since the 1985 New York Giants in the first games of the season to have sacks and touchdowns in each game. I believe it is. So, and that's coming from a team that had Lawrence Taylor, among others. This is a complete team, I think. Now, this coming week, I think is going to be a test when they play the unbeaten Titans.
Mhm.
That's going to be a good game. But I think you're absolutely right. When they get the Ravens, that's going to be the test. But I think Ben Roethlisberger, I think he's playing right now. He has something to prove, and he's proven it.
Yeah, he's
so
like
far.
he's like the two other old quarterbacks in the league, where everyone's just throwing them off because they're old, and so they're coming in with this chip on their shoulder. And I like it because it's making for some damn good football.
Absolutely. So you mentioned Le'Veon Bell a little bit ago. Now, as of last week's show of our recording, Le'Veon Bell was on the trading block. A couple of hours after we ended our broadcast, Le'Veon Bell was cut. And I'm hearing people saying, oh, maybe the Steelers should go after him. No. I said it during last week's show. No. And if you had it in your mind to say the Steelers should go after Le'Veon Bell, this is what you do. You take your right hand, you say it, the right hand, and you slap yourself in the face. A lot. But Le'Veon Bell is now the latest weapon of one Patrick Mahomes II. Le'Veon Bell now has a 1-year deal with the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. JLaw, good idea, bad idea?
I'm indifferent about it. There was rumors that was saying that Miami was his other big target. Even when it came down to 3 teams, which I think was the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Dolphins, he took away the Bills, and it was basically Chiefs and Dolphins were his 2 teams. And the Dolphins were ready, like they were prepared to throw some big money his way. I don't know. I don't care much for his attitude. I don't want him anywhere near Tua. I don't want him, tainting that locker room, even though I think Tua would be able to hand it, which we'll talk about Tua later, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But it's just another one of those things. We're in a new era of sports now, where players, which more power to the players, they're able to force their way out of situations that they don't want to be in anymore, even if they do it in toxic ways. And he's out, and now he's got a really, really good chance to get a Super Bowl ring. I don't think he's going to go down. I don't think maybe 30, 40 years from now he'll be remembered as like he'll fall in line with other backs that if you were if you were a big Steelers fan back in the day, like if you were 15, 16 years old when Le'Veon Bell was with the Steelers, and then 50 years later, you'll probably remember him. You'll be like, man, that Le'Veon Bell, we had him those few years. He was the best running back in the league. But even with like a ring, I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. And even with the big numbers that he put up, he definitely tampered down when he went to New York, which was a stupid idea because Adam Gase didn't even want him there. So I don't know why they kept holding on to him. And obviously, no one else really wanted him either because no one offered him anything.
He's toxic. He's toxic as all hell. And I'll tell you the truth. Here's my thing. I think you're right. I think Le'Veon Bell is one of those backs where he's good in the time he's in, but he's going to be forgotten. Do you remember Natron Means?
Nope.
No, you don't. But Natron Means at one time was one of the most talked about running backs and one of the better power backs of his era. Natron Means played for the San Diego Chargers. He was a good player. And I remember every time, because I used to love to watch NFL Primetime. That was my favorite show on ESPN. And they go, and of course, Chris Berman would be like, Natron Means business. I love Natron Means. Or do you remember Barry Foster?
Oh, I think I do. Oh, that name sounds so familiar.
Barry Foster played for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then he left in free agency and played like 1 or 2 barely productive seasons during the early days of the Carolina Panthers. Fast Willie Parker. You remember Fast Willie Parker?
Again, sounds familiar, but I'm drawing a blank right now.
Another former Steelers running back. He was the man here in Pittsburgh for a couple, like 2-3 years. He was on the Steelers during our Super Bowl win against the Seattle Seahawks. Here's another name, Sean Alexander.
Hey, I know Sean. Yeah.
Sean Alexander, great running back, but you know what? You barely hear about his name in any sort of discussions anymore. When you talk about some of the best backs in the league ever, you don't even hear Sean Alexander's name anymore. What about Willis McGahee? Do we remember Willis McGahee?
I remember Willis McGahee, yeah.
Great running back for Miami, and even still came back from an ACL injury and had a pretty decent career. But you don't hear his name mentioned among the greatest backs ever. Ricky Williams, another one.
I was fixing to bring up Ricky. He's remembered for a different reason, for Mike Ditka trading the entire Steelers draft.
The entire Saints draft.
Yeah, it's not Steelers, Saints. Yeah.
He traded every draft pick just to get Ricky Williams, and they did nothing. But Ricky Williams, a hell of a running back, but you don't hear his name much anymore. Even Eric Dickerson, one of the greatest running backs of all time. You hear about him in some of those discussions, but I mean, still, a lot of those, most of the running backs that you hear about now are from the past are Barry Sanders, Emmitt Smith. You hear Jerome Bettis, Walter Payton, Gale Sayers. Those are some of the Jim Brown. Those are some of the running backs that you hear about. You don't hear about some of these other guys. Some of these guys, sadly enough, they get forgotten, and that's going to be Le'Veon Bell. In 10 years, no one's going to really remember Le'Veon Bell. It's going to be, hey, do you remember? It's going to be just like how I was asking you about all these names. Hey, do you remember Le'Veon Bell? Oh, that sounds familiar. Better yet, just to further hammer my point home before we move on. Crap, what was that one guy's name? Dave Meggett. Remember Dave Meggett? What about Joe Morris?
Joe Morris, I remember.
Tom Rathman.
Nope.
Roger Craig.
Yes.
Let me see. Ickey Wood. Well, of course, everyone remembers Ickey Woods, but not for his running back game.
Bro, and that's sad that people don't know about Sean. I liked Sean back in the day.
Sean Alexander.
Looking at his stats, like 2004, 2005, he had a 1,600 yards season in 2004 with 16 touchdowns, and in 2005, 1,800, almost 1,900 yards and 27 touchdowns. Well, he was a 1,000-yard running back from 2001 to 2005, and then in 2006, 2007, below 1,000, and then after 2008, he was out of the league.
Yep. Deuce McAllister.
I know that name.
Yeah, well, but still, he's not. Would he be one of the names that you would bring up as one of the greatest?
No.
As good as he was no Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson is one of those names that stands out. Le'Veon Bell's name will not stand out in the annals of the NFL. It will not. Mm-hmm. In 2030, we might be talking about Le'Veon Bell as like maybe because you figure he'll be 38 years old, so he'll have been out of the league probably 4 to 6 years. I'm giving him until the age of 32, 33, retiring. After that, though, you're not even going to remember who the hell he was.
Yep.
You're just not. And it sucks for him, but it's true. He was a talented runner, but I think his attitude got in the way of it, and he oversold himself. Like, people are starting to forget about Todd Gurley at this point. I'm not hearing Todd Gurley's name mentioned anywhere.
Todd Gurley, Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, barely. Well, I mean, granted, we're also at the time where the running back position isn't as valued. It's diminished. The value of the running back position is being diminished. If your name is a Chris Henry or James Conner, if you're in Pittsburgh, or
if you're Zeke or Nick Chubb.
Yeah. And barely even Patrick Lindsey or Christian McCaffrey.
Mm-hmm.
Barely. If you're not any of those names or Adrian Peterson, so what? Poor LaShawn McCoy, for as good as he was. Yeah. So, I mean, I think that this is good because, it'll give Patrick Mahomes another weapon. That's it. He's gonna have another receiving threat because Le'Veon Bell can come out of the backfield as a receiver. So I think is that gonna help the Chiefs? Absolutely. Is he the catalyst that's gonna get them to a second Super Bowl? No.
No.
Not unless he has a 1,500-yard season with double-digit touchdowns and 700 receiving yards. No.
Yeah.
And unless he goes into the Super Bowl and has 150 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, and 75 receiving yards and a receiving touchdown, no. And I don't see that happening because Patrick Mahomes doesn't need him like that. He's got more than enough weapons. All Le'Veon Bell is just another weapon. And he's 28 years old. He's on the wrong side of 25.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and that's bad for running backs. That is the tail end.
Yeah, running backs start breaking down around 29, 30. Unless you're Adrian Peterson and you're made of steel, but even Adrian Peterson is slowing down.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's interesting news. It gives us something. It gives guys like us something to talk about. So, cool. But does it matter? No. I'm more interested on where Cam Newton is going next year. That's what I'm more interested in.
Yeah.
Where's Cam going to be next year?
I could see him staying in New England.
You think so?
If things continue to work out, because I honestly think that Belichick is enjoying the offense that they're running, and you can definitely see that they are running everything through Cam. Literally running. He's getting over 10 carries a game right now. But
they got to get him some weapons. They got to get him some weapons to throw to. I don't know how Brady got it done with so little weapons.
That's because Brady got the best white slot receivers out there.
Yeah,
and just tossed it to them and just let them run.
And one of the best tight ends to play the game. As much as I hate to give Gronk any sort of credit, because I'm not a Gronk fan. I'm not a New England guy. I lived in New England for almost 10 years. I am not a New England guy.
Welcome to the world of a Miami Dolphins fan.
Speaking of which, you remember how I told you I did a franchise with the Dolphins?
Mm-hmm.
Guess who obliterated the season rushing yards record? Guess by how much? Just guess.
I'll guess by like 400.
More.
600.
More.
1,000.
Yes. I ran for 3,084 yards. And guess how many touchdowns? And guess how many touchdowns I had?
Oh gosh. You didn't break the record, did you, for touchdowns, or did you? Did you? Okay, I'll go high. I'll go like 38.
34.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, and we won the Super Bowl. And then,
nice.
Of course, and this is actually based on the tweet that you saw when I said, why can't I see what the offer sheet is?
Mm-hmm.
That's the one thing I hate about Madden especially, is that when you're getting re-signed, you can't see the offer sheet. You have to go to the end of the season as a free agent to see what you're being offered. I just took the deal because it's like, you know what? I'm already here in Miami. I might as well stay. And I think it ended up being like 4 years, 30 million, I think it is. And that's not bad for a running back who's going into his age 27 season.
Yeah. That just ran for almost 4,000 yards and scored 34 touchdowns.
Exactly. And then I did another because I was getting bored. So now I'm doing a coach one where I'm trying to build the Miami Dolphins. I'm slowly but surely building the defense. And I'm trying to tank for either Joe Burrow or Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah. Which I've really liked the job that Brian Flores has done. I've said it in the past. I think because there is a negative stigma around coaches from the Belichick tree. Mm-hmm. Eric Mangini is like the only one that you can consider of having somewhat success.
Yeah, from all the rest of them.
That laugh just sums it up. It is like
Romeo Crennel.
The most successful. No, it's like Eric Mangini is like, that's the name.
The only one. That's it. Name one person you groomed to be a good coach. Eric Mangini.
Yeah. Is that something to be proud of, or?
But
But
It's
Brian
better
Flores,
it's better than Romeo Cornell.
That's true. But Brian Flores has kept this team, and it's not the best roster out there. Like, they've spent a lot of money on the defense, yeah, but even the defense isn't that great. But he's getting them to play competitive football, and you can argue that if he sees Tua as a better quarterback than Fitzpatrick, there's a game or two that maybe Tua, because of his presence, they win instead of lose. And they're tied for first right now. They're only one game behind right now because the Bills have lost 2 in a row. So now the Dolphins are only one game back from the AFC East.
And this is the most wide open the AFC East has been in like 20 years.
Yeah,
literally
the
20 years.
It is the most wide open it's really been since Brady went down with his leg injury, which is why
2000
you can't fall on a quarterback's legs. You can't tackle him below the knees anymore because Tom Brady bitched about someone snapping his leg in half, and he's the face of the league. So they're like,
Well, and here's the thing. So how are you? And once again, in Brady, it's because of Brady. Everyone asks, so how are you supposed to make a sack a quarterback? What are you supposed to do?
You're supposed to like bear hug them and slowly take them to the ground.
And the thing is, man, I remember a time when the quarterback position was it is a tough position. Look at Cam Newton. Look at everything Cam Newton's been through in his career. It's almost like there are two, and this is something that at some point we definitely got to open up. There's 2 different rules for certain quarterbacks in the NFL. Like Tom Brady, you can't touch. Ben Roethlisberger, Cam Newton, these guys get drilled.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Rodgers gets hit, but he doesn't complain about it.
Yeah, it's the same thing like in the NBA. It's like players are going to get calls that other players aren't going to get. Like James Harden and LeBron are going to get they're going to get reffed 2 different ways than what like a role player on the Oklahoma City Thunder is going to get.
Why don't they just go back to Seattle? They need to just go back to Seattle.
I think the Kings will probably be the ones to go back. That's what everyone talks about. I think the Kings will, or I think they'll just expand.
Put an expansion team in there.
Yeah, I think they'll put one in Seattle. I'm hoping they do Seattle and Las Vegas because that means the Grizzlies will move out east. So they'll maybe have an easier time.
The Grizzlies should be an Eastern Conference team. The only reason why they're still in the West is because they started out in Vancouver and they just never realigned.
Yeah, and it's like we're almost further east than a couple of Eastern Conference teams. It's like
you guys are further east than Chicago and Milwaukee. I was just getting ready to say, and Minnesota. Well, Minnesota's technically a Western. Minnesota's a Western Conference.
Yeah, Minnesota's Western. But yeah, Chicago and Milwaukee. Minnesota's further east than there. So like, what gives? Why are you putting us in this awful, awful conference?
Seriously,
where you can win 50 games and you could still miss the playoffs. Whereas in the East, you win 32 games and you're the 7th seed.
Yeah. So now it's been announced that Tua is now the starter, correct? Mm-hmm. Fitzmagic is taking a seat. Here comes Tua.
Tua time.
Now, obviously that hip is better because there's no way he'd be in there right now.
Mm-hmm.
So now they're playing the Rams this Sunday.
Yeah.
Now, now you want to talk about throwing a kid to the wolves? Why don't you got Aaron Donald on the other side of that line? Seriously? Aaron Donald throws offensive lines by himself. Oh my, Aaron, you know who Aaron Donald is to me? He is the Bob Sapp of the NFL. He is just big and nasty and mean. He is Swatowski from freaking The Longest Yard. I'm surprised that we have not seen video of Aaron Donald gorilla pressing freaking bleachers.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean, just because of the injury history, you have to be worried about him. I personally thought that. So my personal take, and Dolphins fan here. So, my personal take was that I didn't think that they should have started him this year at all, unless it's like the very last game, which even like Yeah, unless it's like the very last game or next to last game of the season, just to get his feet wet.
Right.
Just to
Get him ready for
let him see, because you're not going to see. Well, I guess depending on how, because it's the Raiders and the Bills those final 2 games. So I guess depending on how the AFC East was looking and how the AFC West was looking, you could see like better defenses and stuff. But I mean, even then, I just think that it would have been better, because if we weren't going to be competitive and we could still get a decently high pick, bring in someone that could really help, then I think that, yeah, you don't start him this year, or you play him those last couple of games,
or play him in cleanup. Play him in cleanup against the Jets.
Or I thought that, but the other thinking is like, if they are going to bring him in, then I was gonna suggest it be like in the second half of the season, like even if it's like that entire second half of the season, which would have been around the Cardinals or Chargers. Just off the, I just got it right here. I'm not counting, but just kind of in that area. I thought the Cardinals was going to be his first start, and he would have had the Cardinals. The Chargers have a lot of injuries on that defense, so he would have faced off against a lackluster Chargers defense. A lot of injuries to the Broncos defense, so it's not as powerful as it would have been. And then he's got Jets and Bengals before he faces off against the Chiefs that have a legitimate defense.
Right.
But yeah, they are throwing him to the wolves right now. I don't know. The only thing that I could think of is that why they're doing this is Flores is 100% convinced that Tua is light years ahead of Fitzpatrick and where Fitzpatrick can take this team. They also know the history of Fitzpatrick. Flores understands the history of Fitzpatrick, that you cannot fall too much in love with Fitzpatrick.
Right.
Because you will get burnt.
Oh, yeah.
The Fitz magic will blow up in your face and leave a nasty scar, because that's what happened to the Buccaneers a few years ago. Right. When they started to they really weren't sure if they were going to keep Jameis Winston around. Fitzmagic rolls in there and is playing wonderfully, and then it explodes in their face. And he has like 2 games in a row where he throws 3 or 4 interceptions, and they get killed. Right. And that was going to happen here. Right. And you have to, considering that the Dolphins are only 1 game out of leading the division, and there's a lot of teams on here like the Jets, the Bengals with their bad defense, the Broncos with their hurt defense, the Cardinals don't have that. Like, they've had some bad injuries on their defense. They still have a good defense, but it's not as good as it could be. There is an argument that if Tua is as good as Brian Flores thinks that he is, then maybe Flores thinks that they can make a playoff push in year 1. I don't agree with that. I'm not saying that I agree with that.
Right.
I am trying to get into the mind of Flores and this coaching staff and the staff in general, because throwing to it at this time in the season against this team makes no sense.
I agree. And I mean, granted, you're going into the bye week. They've got a bye this week, so that gives them extra time for preparation. But again, you're still going up against Aaron Donald, the best defensive player in football today. Aaron Donald, T.J. Watt, J.J. Watt, Minkah Fitzpatrick, in my opinion. And if Von Miller was in there, it would go Donald, Miller, down.
And we can't forget about Bosa either.
Bosa
with the Chargers.
I'm not a big fan of either of the Bosa brothers, but absolutely, you can't deny how good they are.
Yeah.
See, if I would have done the same thing, I would have at least waited until the Arizona game, or I would have waited until the Denver game.
Yeah, the Denver or the Jets game, the next Jets game would have been the 2 that I would have considered. I would have waited for the Denver game, because the defenses after, because I mean, you're going up against the Rams. You don't want to throw him in against the Cardinals and then yank him against the Chargers. So you let Fitzmagic go for 3 more games, and then from week 11 on down, you let Tua start, if that's what you're going to do. But you're right, Flores, he has to see something. And maybe him being a left-handed, maybe that awkward throwing style of a left-handed moving quarterback, he sees something there. Maybe him and Devontae Parker
develop some sort of chemistry that they can make things happen together.
Mhm.
Maybe Mike Gesicki works well with him. Who knows?
Yeah, and it's just like skipping over the Rams game just would have made more sense because the next 4 to 5 games are much easier competition speaking wise than the final 4-5 games of the year where it's Chiefs, Patriots, Raiders, Bills.
Right.
Chiefs are the Chiefs. Patriots, they've got Bill Belichick. Raiders don't have that great of a defense, but you could. Not a great defense, but they're probably going to be fighting for a playoff spot. So I would expect them to come out, guns a-blazing in that game. And then the Bills, they're the Bills this year.
Right. And I mean, I'm looking at Tua's numbers. 2 for 2 for 9 yards. I mean, all right, in cleanup duty. All right, that's cool. That's relatively promising. I just don't think I hope Brian Flores is right. But that's why he's getting paid the big bucks to coach the Miami Dolphins, and that's why we're doing this show to second guess him.
And that's why I am, even though I don't agree with it, and I may not agree with the logic behind it, because he hasn't explained why he's done it. It's just been announced, hey, he's our quarterback. It is time for Tua to take over.
It's Tua time.
And even though Fitzpatrick Fitzpatrick isn't gonna ascend any team to the next level.
Fitzpatrick is who we thought he was. And that's why we took the damn field. That is still one of the greatest rants in sports history.
Oh, it is. And along with the I'm a man, I'm 40.
A man! I'm 40. Come at me! Or playoffs? Oh, man.
There's one more that I always quote, and I can't remember where it's from, but it's like, can't do it, can't coach him. I can't remember what interview that's from.
Oh man!
But I quote that so much. I need to figure that out. I'm ashamed of my lack of NFL knowledge right now.
We'll see. What I love is we're getting ready for Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting ready for Cincinnati.
Yeah, I'm expecting Joe Burrow. He'll probably struggle again. He struggled really bad when he faced off against the Ravens, and I'm expecting the same.
I can't wait until we see him here in Pittsburgh. Welcome to the conference, Joseph Aloysius Burrow. And I'm sure that's not his real middle name, but for my purposes, his middle name is Aloysius.
So Joe Burrow, we're just gonna call him Aloysius now.
Yeah, Aloysius.
It's gonna get to the point. It's gonna get to the point where we're like 30 episodes into this thing, and we're not even speaking real English. We're just calling people random names.
Yeah.
And there's gonna be some poor person that comes into the episode right then. They're like, "What the hell are these guys talking about?"
Swamp Thing. What the hell is a Swamp Thing? What is this? What? I can't watch this.
Swamp Thing, Deadpool, and Aloysius.
Because all I wish is I could get a win. Oh, Aloysius. Actually, that should be Sam Darnold, because I wish I could get a win. But Adam Gase is the quarterback that you get if you're in football hell, like Spike from a Little Giants. Spike's in wee hell. I noticed though, each episode, we're getting ready to wrap this up. Each episode, I reach all the way back in time and I bring back some gems. The first one was our very first episode when I brought up Dennis Rodman and I put him in my all-team starting lineup. Last week, it was going all the way back for 1st and 10. And today, it was I already forgot. Oh, Little Giants.
Little Giants. Yeah.
Little Giants.
Hey, bro, Little Giants, Rick Moranis, great movie.
Absolutely. And
Can't quote anything from it, but I know that movie exists, and I know I've watched it multiple times.
See, what's bad is that when it comes to movies, I can quote practically any movie I've ever seen before. I just have to have seen it once and been coherent.
Nice. Yeah.
And the fact, and I am still Team Icebox, by the way. I am still Team Icebox. I still think that if you put Icebox on the New York Jets, the Jets at least, even if they're still a winless team, but they're only losing by a field goal. Because the Icebox knows how to make it happen. Becky the Icebox O'Shea. Yeah. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap up here. Next week we are gonna discuss. Oh wow, we haven't even discussed the World Series. Rays,
Yeah.
Dodgers. Who do you have, JLaw?
I'm gonna have to go with the Dodgers just because they're the hotter team right now.
I can get down with that. I'm rooting for Clayton Kershaw to finally get that World Series win.
Yeah,
I'm a Kershaw fan. I like him, so I'd like to see him win.
Baseball more than anything else. I guess along with football too. Football definitely, but baseball also. It's just about who gets hot, and they're hot. You're
Like
down 3-1, and
then you
come
just
in
come
and
back.
just spank the Braves. Which
I'm okay
I mean,
with
it's also an Atlanta sports team, so they are prone.
They're prone to.
Yeah.
So yep, I'm definitely on the Dodgers train for that as well. Like I said, I'm a Clayton Kershaw guy, so I'm happy to see him. Glad to see Mookie Betts is getting his going as well. So next week we'll definitely give a lot more time to the World Series next week, as well as
there'll be some games, so there'll be some things that we can react to.
Exactly. And actually, Game 1 is tonight, so I might peek in on that a little bit.
Yeah,
but
depending on how it goes, maybe it's over by next week.
You never know. You never know. So, but we're definitely going to be talking NFL next week. We'll be talking the World Series next week, and it kind of sucks. All we really have is the NFL right now.
And college football, Big Ten is back.
Big Ten is back
this Saturday. It is a full slate of games. I'm excited.
All right. So so we'll talk next week we're going to talk World Series. We're going to talk NFL, and we're going to talk college football, a lot more in depth on college football with the Big Ten coming back. So for Jackson Law, I'm Brian Tann. This is the Tanndemonium Sports Show. We'll see you next week.